Hey, you guys. Okay, so I'm going to wait for some people to roll in before I start talking about something I'm really, really excited about and happy about. You guys could probably guess when you get here. Got some Pellegrino water here. And then a latte. It's a lavender latte. Just going to wait for people to roll in. Okay. Praise be to God, because the camera works, the microphone works, everything came together. Yes. So I put a poll in the chat box for you guys to answer about manifesting. I want to know where you guys are at when it comes to manifesting in your life. Do you feel like you understand how to do it? How to make it work for you? Do you feel like you understand the energy around it? Energy within, as I always say, and energy without. How do you guys feel about manifesting? Let me know in the comments how it's been working. I get a lot of feedback from clients and people who follow me on social media who are feeling stuck or feeling like, there are things they're trying to have happen, and they're doing certain things to make it happen. They're putting in a certain amount of work, and yet at the same time, they feel like it's not quite coming in the way that they asked for it, or it's something else. So I want to start the conversation today. Hey, you guys. Oh, thank you so much for the compliment. Let me know in the comment section, you guys, like what really is your experience with manifesting? Because for years, I think logically it was like something I understood, but energetically I was like, okay, but how does it really work? Do I really believe in it? And that's like opening up a whole conversation about faith and energy, which some people really don't believe in. But if you're somebody who does believe in how energy works, even on a scientific level, not even just, on a spiritual level, but on a scientific level, how do you guys, feel about energy? It's not necessarily something you can see all the time. Or feel the way we're used to just kind of getting confirmations right away. It is a little bit more abstract. I like to refer to it as the 5D realm. So this is the 3D, and spiritual stuff and energetic stuff is a lot of it happens in the 5D realm, but it's also here. It's literally in every single thing that we interact with. And I think when it comes to the law of attraction and it comes to manifesting, we have to remember that it all comes back down to energy. And that's just a secular, scientific, not even, attached to any kind of religious following or spiritual following. Energy is in this cup. Energy is in my cell phone. Energy is running throughout my body. There's energy in the air we breathe. It's literally in everything. So I'm like preaching this message of the better you understand how energy works, how you keep it, how you interact, how you put it back, how you receive it, all of the above, then you're basically, you're setting yourself up to be a co-creator with the universe, to be a co-creator with God, however you want to put it, Mother Earth, the great I am. You are becoming a co-creator when you really get in the driver's seat of how energy works. So tell me about what your experience is with manifesting. Let's see what people are saying. Somebody said, I'm getting better at it in the poll. Somebody said, I'm amazing at it. Whoever said they were amazing at it, can you tell me a little bit more about like what your experience has been with manifesting? What are you seeing? How does it work for you? Like, how do you get into alignment with that which you are trying to attract or call in? And then how does it usually roll out for you? If anybody could share, that would be great. I'll talk about my experience with manifesting. So, what's interesting is I can tell right off the bat if I'm in alignment in order to manifest, or if I am completely, it's not going to happen because of where my personal energy is at. And I feel like we have to really start there. We have to start there because we attract that which we are, that which we are embodying. So if you in your mind are thinking about the energy you want, but it doesn't match the energy that you are, unfortunately the universe doesn't recognize that and can't magnetize that thing to you from that place. It's kind of a hard concept to accept, I feel like, because as human beings, I feel like we give so much credit to like our thought processes. It's kind of incredible. And I do think that that's where a lot of the ego stuff comes from. We give so much credit to what we think about. It's almost as if that is our identity. And I feel like the thought process, even though it's constantly going, in order to raise our vibration and like move beyond that 2D point of existence, we really do have to step outside of our thought processes and start to give identity to what's behind the thoughts. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's kind of like your thoughts are your reactions to things, but your soul, your higher being is your observation of your thoughts. It's like the person behind the curtain, the observer of what's being observed. Let me go to the comments. Okay, Mike Martinez. I struggle to manifest at times because my anxiety blocks me. What do you recommend me to do so that I don't give my anxiety power over my manifestations? Yeah, I feel like that's kind of exactly what I was saying was the thoughts. So when we're defining what anxiety is another way to say I'm thinking ahead of the present moment. I'm thinking beyond the present moment, and those two things don't really match. I'm trying to have something happen that I don't have the resources mentally or emotionally to produce in this moment. And the aftermath of that is what's causing me to feel anxiety, unrest, angst, just how do I say it? Like, it's a very upsetting feeling for the human body to feel like and mentally to feel like you're trying to get somewhere, but you literally aren't there. You don't have the resources. And then it sends a message, a subconscious, a very subliminal message that there's something wrong. When the reality is there's nothing really wrong, but because you're not tuned in enough to the present moment, your brain is registering, your body is making you feel as if there is something wrong. So the way to combat anxiety is to bring yourself back to the present. It's almost like reprogramming, because there's something in your programming that would have you thinking in ways, honestly, that have probably nothing to do with you, that you shouldn't be thinking about, that you shouldn't be living or putting an expectation or demand on yourself to think that way. But we're so programmed and it's so normalized for us that we don't even see the problem in it. I can tell you, as a therapist, work with so many clients. I mean, mostly everybody in today's world has some issue with anxiety. And the biggest thing is undoing the thought patterns that put these unnecessary demands on your psyche, or on what you should be doing, on what what position you should be in. It's these automatic tapes playing in our mind. And they usually come from a place where, we've had previous trauma, previous experiences, relationships, experiences in our family dynamics, school, work. I mean, pretty much anywhere. There's no criteria for how somebody, has to acquire, can acquire anxiety or anxiety symptoms. Let's see. Yesenia says, I have the same problem with anxiety getting in the way. Yeah. So one thing I would recommend for that is whenever you feel like, well, the physical symptoms of anxiety is a great way to track it, right? Because it's like a different level when you can feel it throughout your body, not just in your mind. But for those of you who don't, feel it in your body, it's mainly in your mind. It's going to be a little bit tricky, but not impossible to change. So essentially, you're going to want to do, I like the technique of thought stopping as a first line of defense. It's definitely not a long-term fix just to stop your thoughts. But I think the minute you pick up on going down a cycle of anxiety, first of all, stop your thoughts in its tracks. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to reason with it. Don't try to do any of that stuff at this stage. Stopping your thoughts gives you a moment to breathe and settle into the present moment. And I always tell this to my clients that don't try to do cognitive behavioral therapy. Don't try to reframe your thoughts like right away, especially if you have a physical manifestation of your anxiety at that stage. Stop your thoughts. Just stop the train. If you can at least do that and say, okay, I'm not going to continue to go down this line of thinking because it's not going to end well for me. I'm not going to continue to go down this line of thinking because I know where this is going to get me. This is probably part of my anxieties. It's probably not real in a lot of ways. It's probably not as intense as I'm making it out to be. These are all the reasons why, boom, just stop. Thought stop, right? Stop that. Take a deep breath and self-regulate your body. So, get some water, sit down, change up your position, change your scenery, go outside and see a cloud, a tree, a leaf, a sun, the sunlight, something to put a shift in what's currently going on. So what that's going to do is that's going to bring you into a new present moment awareness. And it is an energy shift. It truly, truly is. What you do from there is obviously going to determine like where things end up when it comes to your anxiety. Once your body starts to kind of settle into the present moment and you're like, okay, I'm no longer in that moment. Doesn't mean you've solved it or you figured it out for whatever the context was, but it does mean that you have shifted the moment. Now you have leveraged yourself a better position to go from there, to shift into whatever this energy is you want to shift. Some people choose to not go back into that energy at all until they're able to have someone help them. It really depends on what it is, right? If you're a client of mine, I've probably taught you at some point how to restructure your thoughts and find the holes, like the irrationality of it all, so that you can bring it back into balance. But that does take some practice and that does take a certain level of skill, if that makes sense. So what I would say is the most powerful beginner level tool that you have is to stop the spiral. Don't go down the rabbit hole of your anxiety and at least start to build up an awareness of when that's happening and when it's anxiety. So I think that's kind of a big task in and of itself is, oh, is this anxiety or is this real? Is this really me? Because we're so identified in our thoughts, right? And that's kind of why I wanted to have this conversation, because when it comes to spirituality and spiritual energy, we do have to learn how to get beyond our thoughts. We do have to learn how to stop over identifying in our thoughts and thinking that that's who we are and that's this reality that we live in when, it's not the full picture. And a lot of times it's a very tricky picture. So when you identify in your thoughts, you're really then requiring yourself to sift through a lot of BS just to get to the actual realness of what's happening. So I'm a huge fan of living and understanding and integrating the 3D and the 5D. I think, our earthly realm, there's so much going on in our earthly realm that is beneficial. It's how we're mobile, we move about, we create, we have tangible things that we get to enjoy. It's the fun of it, of being here on the earth. Being a human being has a lot of perks, right? We get to have a lot of fun with what we do with the energy. But I think we also have to understand that we cannot be over identified in what's going on down here. And there are other realms, right, that don't look like our experience here, but they are happening. Does anybody have any other questions about energy here and anxiety and like how to overcome that? Let's see. Thank you. I do wonder, or rather worry, what happens if I manifest something I thought I wanted, but I actually don't want it. Does this mean that I wasn't ready for it? Interesting question. So what's interesting about the energy is if you manifest something and it shows up and you're not ready for it, you don't need to worry, because you're not going to stay aligned with it. I mean, it's not going to magnetize itself to you for very long. And I do think that sometimes happens for people, that a version of it shows up or the beginnings of it show up, and you really have to go within and figure out, like, am I really aligned with this? Or was I aligned with it for like a time? And if the answer is no, now you're getting more clear about what you are aligned with. So no matter how you spin it, you really can't go wrong. And, for people who have questions about, oh, what I'm manifesting isn't showing up, I really, 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 really want to address that, because I think the misconceptions that a lot of us have are, oh, I'm manifesting this thing, and it's not here. We start to then like blame ourselves and think something's wrong with us, defective. It's like we go into the negative, and that is not what that's about, like, at all, right? It's not about something being wrong or negative or lacking. There's so many reasons. Some of us, we feel like we're aligned with something and we're really not aligned with that. And our soul, our deeper consciousness, our deeper residing energy is calling in something else. Why our brains, this is why we can't over-identify in our minds. Like I said earlier, we're actually calling in, this thing. Like, for example, let's say you're trying to manifest a certain type of person, because in your mind, you have mentally created this picture of what that perfect person is going to be like, relationship-wise. Let's go to relationships. And in your mind, you've thought about what this person, but let's say on a deeper soul level, that's not even what you want. And you have a deeper residing alignment with what you actually want. That's what's going to show up. It's all about the energy. Our thoughts and our words really don't compare. They don't hold as much weight compared to the energy that we carry. It's kind of like when you meet somebody for the first time and they speak these words of, oh, hi, nice to meet you. I saw your picture on Instagram and you just looked great. I'm so glad we're meeting. But then let's say that's what they're saying. It sounds wonderful, great, amazing. Yeah, gas me up. But their energy may be saying something completely different. I guarantee you're going to walk away with that understanding of the energy that you felt, the way that made you feel, versus what they said. You see what I mean? Like, the energy we carry is what we're going to attract. The energy we carry speaks for us in so many ways. So you can't really fake energy. If it's off, it's off. If it's, if it's a high vibration, it's a high vibration, but you cannot fake the energy. So it's the same thing with manifesting. So whenever I have people, sorry, I'm like readjusting. Whenever I have people who are like, it's not coming in, Whitney, it's not coming in. Like, I'm taking okay, well, we need to look at your energy. What's going on in your energy? And that's why I'm a big fan of having help. have somebody help you with it. Obviously, not just any old Joe who doesn't even know anything about energy, but someone you know, trust, who's a practitioner of energy, a wise person, something like that. And there's other things we can talk about that you can do to check your own energy, because I think that's like the powerful tool that you have. But it is like when you go to when you are trying to manifest and it's not showing up, it's not about blame. It's not about saying, okay, something is wrong with me. And I think we really have to get away from that. Yes, on social media, there's so much content about people manifesting and it showing up, and it almost appears like it's just happening, that there's no energetic work behind it. But I guarantee they've shifted something. And we all come from different walks of life and different paths. So the way we interact with energy is going to be different too. Hey, Stephanie, thanks for joining. I'm glad that you agree. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts like they want to add to the conversation about how energy works in your life? What has manifesting been like? Has it been like up and down? Does it feel like sometimes you're really tapped in and the manifesting flows a lot easier? Or does it always feel like it's kind of out of reach? I'm really interested. The other thing I want to say is, and these are things that a lot of people don't just kind of like get real about and talk about, is manifesting and being in energetic alignment is likely going to change when you go through big life transitions. Because if you think about it, big life transitions are bringing in new energy. Sometimes it's brand new energy, like a territory you've never been. So when you introduce big new energy into your life, it does kind of make you feel a little wobbly. I want to normalize that, because I feel like the expectation of holding a steady high vibration at all times it just feels so unrealistic to me. I definitely don't want to say it's impossible, because I do know of people, not personally, but of people who, they live and die by the law of attraction, and they have gotten kind of like Abraham Hicks. Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham Hicks, I would be really curious to know if her vibration ever becomes wobbly. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Esther Hicks, but she channeled Source through Abraham, and she tours the world and talks about, brilliant, and answers people's questions around the world when it comes to energy and how to handle their various situations, dating, love, whatever, money, when it comes to the law of attraction. Yesenia says, what's the difference between manifesting and praying? Oh my God, I love that question. So there's not a lot of difference. And the words we use, again, it's all about we come from different walks of life. Some of us come from religious backgrounds or the church. And this is why I say, whether you're living in the metaphysical community and surrounding yourself with those terms and that cultural piece, or you're going to the church, we're all kind of doing the same exact thing and calling it a little bit something different. And there's whether you call it The Secret, the law of attraction, manifesting, praying, the words that you say have power. The words that you think have power, but it's all related to the energy you hold. So when you are praying, if you hold this deep energy of fear and regret, think about what kind of energy you are actually pushing out there. Right? So you can pray and say words of love, peace, harmony, but let's say you actually hold an energy of resentment and anger and negativity towards the person you're praying about. I don't know if you should be praying for them, at that particular moment in time. I would say get your energy in alignment, and make sure that, the energy you're pushing out is what matters, is what I'm trying to say. The energy you're pushing out is whatever you focus on magnifies, right? Whatever energy you are holding and focusing on will magnify. So, prayer and manifesting they're very similar. Let me take some of my latte here. Yeah. But the power of prayer does work, right? Depending on your energy. Some people who pray don't get those prayers answered, so to speak, or that manifestation, they don't see it come to fruition because maybe the energy that they're holding is not of, an aligned power, or it's a negative power or whatever. Just like you can bring negative energy into fruition, you just got to be really, really careful. But it's the same as anything else. If you're in a bad place and you're feeling like crap about yourself, be careful about how you entertain that energy, because it could magnify. Let's see. Stephanie says, yes, I've noticed if I'm praying or meditating for something like money, weight loss, etc., and if my energy still is in lack or fear, I know it won't happen if it's still there. I know it's kind of like, shoot, but the name of the game is shifting your energy, right? So it makes sense. And I always tell people too, when it comes to like affirmations and exposing yourself to, positive mantras and affirmations, it's not so much that the affirmations are that they have all the power, right? So you can't necessarily just put all your eggs in that basket and think, okay, if I do these affirmations, then I'll feel better or shift. Not necessarily, and if you're doing the affirmations and you're feeling like still resistant to it, like you don't want to be doing that, and it's not working, and it's stupid, and it's pointless, and you have so much further to go with the shift than the affirmations were able to take you to, then what I would suggest is stop. Again, like with anxiety, stop. Don't keep going because it's just creating more resistance. Stop. And then do something, replace that action with something that is going to organically shift you, even if it's just a little bit, right? So for example, if you're in a bad mood and you're like, I'm really, really mad at so-and-so, they betrayed me, they're, I don't like them, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I don't like feeling like this. You pick up an affirmation book, you start reading it. You're like, this isn't working, and I'm just force feeding myself affirmations. Then put the book away and go do something you can get on board with. It's better to shift your energy in a small but genuine, organic way than to sit there and try to reach for something and just continue to build on the energy of resistance. It's like when I work with my clients, they're like, I can't meditate, Whitney. I can't meditate. I don't want to go to yoga. It's too hippy dippy for me, or it's too slow. Like all I do is think more about okay. No one's asking. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Yes, those things are looked at as like stereotypically spiritual, but everything is spiritual, right? All the energy is connected, oneness. So there's no like ranking system, because you can go and twerk in your living room to Cardi B, and that can feel spiritual to you. If that gets you out of a mindset where you're spiraling and and now all of a sudden you're not even thinking about it because you're just like twerking and you're like, oh my God, this is so great. I feel my body. Like, it reminds you of other funny things, and reminds you of how much you love Cardi B. That's it. You're shifting your energy, and it's organic. You're not force feeding it. And I think that's something that we really, really, really need to promote, is it does not have to be a stereotypical spiritual modality, because everything is spiritual. We are an extension of spirit. We are an extension of source. The music we listen to, I think in spiritual communities and sometimes in religious communities, they say, the things you listen to, you have to be, really be careful, because those things are going to bring you away from God, or, the spirit. Cardi B isn't a Christian, or Cardi B isn't, first of all, we don't know what Cardi B is doing in her personal time, right? And it's all about the intention that you bring to that interaction, right? How are you receiving? Are you receiving the lyrics like I'm going to go slash someone's tires because Cardi B said it? Are you receiving the lyric as I'm here, it's a beat, I'm twerking to it, it's getting me out, it's funny, I don't take that literal? Like, if that's not you, if you can't do the Cardi B and shift your energy, then it's probably something you're going to be resistant to. And that's probably something that you don't want to be doing. That's kind of the fun of this whole energy journey, this whole energy path is you get to choose. Know thyself, right? You get to choose what that is. And I have a lot of clients who do love yoga, but you can have a variety of things in your arsenal, in your toolbox, a variety. Like, why have one or two that you have to do and stick to when you could be discovering new things all the time? Like, I like yoga, but I haven't done it in a while. I like meditation. I'm a Reiki healer. So Reiki on myself is like bombastic because I can do that anywhere. I love to do Reiki on my boyfriend. I like to do distance Reiki for the masses on TikTok. That brings me so much joy. TikTok shifts my energy so much. I know a lot of people say, oh, TikTok, it requires so much. You have to be, a good dancer. You have to be hot. You have to be able to, memorize lyrics. But for me, I don't live in the resistance with that stuff with TikTok. Like, the way I receive TikTok is it's very fun. It's enjoyment. There are some really strong-minded people on there, which in a way I appreciate. And there's some really toxic people. And I like seeing the contrast. Honestly, I love to go through there and interact. Tell me, you guys, what do you guys use to shift your energy? What can get you out of a state of resistance? Like, what works? I'm so interested to hear what everybody else uses. Reading, exercise is a big one. Talking and with people, fellowshipping with people, communing with people who have really positive energy. Yes, Stephanie Dance, I saw on your Instagram. Was that your boyfriend? He like twirled you around and dipped you. I was like, oh my God, that's so awesome. And like the location too. I think you were in Utah. Because the rock, it was so gorgeous. But dance is dance not just the best freaking thing to get us out of our minds? Because we just spend so much time identified in our minds. Yeah. Okay. Going for a drive or listening to music helps me a lot. Watching some reality trash TV. What reality trash TV do you watch? Because I love that too. Yep, Utah. I've not been to Utah, but I really want to go and just like be with the earth, because I just feel like there's a lot of room in Utah to just like be with Mother Earth and all that she has to offer. So definitely on my list of things to do. So yes, I hope that I have explained a good chunk of what manifesting and aligning your energy. It's like what I do in my personal business is, so you guys know, just to recap for anyone who's seeing this or meeting me for the first time, I have 10 years in the business of psychotherapy, meaning working with people on this and on this. In the psychotherapy and the clinical field, and it kind of depends on what your shtick is as a therapist, but the clinical world really does promote shifting of your psychology and healing of previous traumas, which is also shifting your psychology, which is also another way of saying shifting your energy. And about 5 or so years ago, I got a lot more serious about integrating like more of a holistic track to shifting, because I don't think most of us as humans are one-sided. We don't always live in the masculine or the thoughts. We really need to understand how to make the feminine energy work for us as well, combine them together, and then poof, you like have this better foundation, more leverage to be able to be in alignment. And that's how I personally found the secret sauce with my clients. So my whole business moving forward is whatever it is you want to manifest, love, money, a new house, car, like it really doesn't matter. It's not for me to judge. It's not for anyone to judge what you want to manifest, but I want to help you not just think it up. I feel like that's the easy part, thinking it up, but more of like, what is your soul really aligned and like what's for you? And I know personally in my experience, because I'm a double Aquarius for you guys who that don't know, sun and moon in Aquarius. And so I have a lot of masculine mental energy, just naturally a part of who I am. So I can tell you masculine energy is my default energy. And so thoughts and logic, and I'm just very cerebral with how I exist. And so for someone like me to tap into feminine energy the way that I have, which I never thought was possible, I had to make some really big changes and be so deliberate with how I live my life. For me to do that is huge. So I know there's people out there who struggle with the same thing. Let me check in on the comments. Yes, Yesenia says, I like to meditate, talking to my sister, looking through fun pictures with good memories. I love that too. Like, pictures really are kind of powerful, right? Images are really kind of powerful and they really can shift, whether it's like visual imagery or, a static picture, like that's the same thing. Social media, TikTok, it just all depends on how it works for you. The Bachelor or Bachelorette, starting the Housewives here soon. Yeah. The Housewives, taking it back to season 1, Housewives of Atlanta, for nostalgic reasons. And it's so funny when you have followed a show for that long, and then it's almost like when you go back and watch the beginning. I don't know if you guys do this, but like you remember where you were in your energy or that time in your life and how far you've come. Like when I watched the first season of Atlanta, who I was then versus who I am now, I think we're on season 13. And I really have not kept up with it the last few seasons because I cut off my access to Bravo for a while. My cable, I decided to focus on other things, but I'm going back to a stage where I'm going to like reintroduce that. Let's see, Yesenia. Yes, cruising in the car, watching trash TV are awesome. Like, why not? Like, I want everybody to just like shout out and like hype up what is your thing. I'm so sick of judgment. Like, people, I can't tell you how many countless spiritual, even non-religious people, right? Oh, because non-religious people are supposed to be non-dogmatic. It really just depends on how you are. But saying, oh, this is a no, this is a no. It's really about balance. It's about balance in the intention. Now, if you're using it to escape and unhealthy, coping mechanisms, and you're watching trash TV and drowning your sorrows in a bottle of barefoot Pinot Grigio, that isn't quite the point. Because some people might listen to this and say, oh, well, I can shift, I'll take LSD and shift. And again, not here to judge, like whatever is your thing. But just make sure you're shifting your vibration upward. That's all I'm going to say. Upward. So you're going to have to be the judge of that, not me. How do you feel afterwards? How do you feel? And I'm going to guess for a lot of people, when you're downing a whole bottle of barefoot wine, like you're probably not going to feel the best afterwards. I mean, if anyone has any other thoughts that are different on that, please let me know. Please put your girl on, educate me. But I think there's a difference between shifting your energy and escaping your energy. I mean, I know how to escape too. We all know how to escape. And the last thing I'll say, because it's my inner therapist thinking of everything, when you are in complete dire straits, sometimes the escape route alternative or method is the method that you have, right? Like, because it's that bad. But I think, hopefully you're not making that like a regular thing where escaping becomes like the thing that you do, right? But I do understand that sometimes it just be like that. It's that bad where we got to escape before we can cope. But that's some heavy energy right there. And as a therapist, I've seen it. I've seen it for the last decade. So I know it's real. Y'all, we're real on this channel. We talk about real things, real energy, real transformation, because at the end of the day, I want it to be something that lasts for you all and for myself. Do you guys have any other questions about how to manifest? Like, what are you guys trying to manifest right now? Tell me. Relationships, love, $50,000, $100. What are y'all trying to manifest? And so let's just, we've got like 20 minutes. And so I'm like, okay, I'm your coach right now. Let's get you there. Let's figure out what's going on in the energy and put you on track. What are you guys trying to manifest? I just heard self-esteem. Somebody trying to manifest self-esteem? Healing. What kind of healing, girl? What kind of healing? I mean, definitely. Okay, this camera is out of focus. Let's get it. Okay, we're back. I think healing is like beautiful to manifest. I wish I would hear that more, right? Almost, I'm a little biased. I wish I would hear that more. Like, oh, I'm manifesting my healing, because inevitably it's going to lead to you manifesting literally everything else. Healing is like getting your energy on track. Jennalee, a house, my dream house to be exact. Perfect. Okay, let me go back to Stephanie, and then I'm going to speak to Jennalee. We're going to just put some power on this, right? Let's get this energy on track. I want you guys to get everything that you want. And I know you guys want it too. So healing, Stephanie, putting yourself in a place of vulnerability, even just saying healing and putting it out there to the universe. It's like that continual, hey, this is what I'm going for. This is my intention. With everything that I do, I am in this energy of healing. With everything that I'm embodying and representing, I am in this energy of healing. Like the more that that's on repeat, okay, hormonal gut, yes. Oh my God, I'm so with you, girl, on that. Gut health. I don't know if you had kept up with any of my other videos, or I've been talking about having done this 21-day challenge with an old friend of mine out in California. And I thought I had a thyroid issue, and I still might. I'm still in the process of getting my results back. But her 21-day challenge was an alkaline diet. I don't want to say diet. It wasn't a diet, like an alkaline regimen pretty much. And so there were certain foods I couldn't eat. I'd never tried this type of diet before, this regimen before, but it changed the way my food, my stomach digested food. It changed my bowel movements. It changed so many things that I have been living with for probably about the last 5 or 6 years. So it was huge. And if anything, when it comes to your alignment, like, don't rule anything out. Don't tell yourself that, you've hit a dead end. Don't tell yourself that, it's this one thing and that's all it is. And, your hands are tied. And I know you're not doing that, girl. I know that just by watching your videos and our short interaction together, like you're a spiritual being, like you tap into that energy on a regular basis. But absolutely, we stand with you, everybody on this live, to help you manifest your gut transformation, your hormonal transformation. There's no limit to how energy can shift and change, regardless of what certain doctors have said or other people's opinions or whatever. So we manifest that today. Jennalee, a house, my dream house. So what is your dream house? Like, have you sat in the energy of your dream house? Have you pictured the paint on the walls, the smell of the wood or whatever you're going to have in your house? Have you visualized it so deeply that you literally have to like wake yourself up and remind yourself of where you're at, because you were that deep into that visualization, right? That is how you deepen that manifestation, that ability to become the energy that you want to attract. Because it's kind of like, if you want to attract, like, let's say, $5,000. But you have no idea what the energy of $5,000 coming into your existence is like, then it's going to be really, really hard for that $5,000 to locate you and match up with you. So to visualize and really embody it, do everything you can. Let's see. PCOS. Okay, Stephanie says, I was just diagnosed with PCOS and took a lot of time grieving and now in peace. Thank you, love. Yes, girl. And the diagnosis piece. I'm curious to know, and you don't have to share if you don't want to, but a question that I would want to know too is, like, with the diagnosis, did that shift your energy upwards so that you could accept and understand, or did it feel more like upsetting? And like, what has been the residing energy since the diagnosis? That's something I kind of want to know, because I know and other people may resonate with this too, because other people on this live, including myself, have had struggles with health and questions around health. And when it comes to manifesting, nobody really talks about that. The body is such a huge part of how we feel. Like, if we have pain in our body on a regular basis and how that affects our mood, like, I feel like we need to have more conversation about that and not, stigmatize or alienate those people from being able to manifest. Because there may be a little bit of a different route in terms of overcoming the energy. It just may feel like another obstacle, but it's the same process. So anything you could share on that would be amazing. Going back to manifesting how you want to feel, what it is that you want to call in, what it looks like jennalee with the house, like really visualizing and spending time in that energy, and not just like a quick thought, but like really deep, like almost like, I want to call it a really deep visualization, to where you can feel it, like the joy or whatever the emotions is that are coming in from what you're manifesting. So let's see what Stephanie says. It did, yes. Now I feel like I have a direction to focus on. I felt very lost at what was happening to me until recently. Girl, my body heavily affected my mood for the past 3 months. 100%. And we don't really talk about that enough, right? Like, even those of us who are definitely on the spiritual path and who are definitely prioritizing our alignment on the regular basis, and then we have health issues that come up, and there's so many different theories that it almost crosses that line into judgment if we're not careful, because, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Louise Hayes, but she has a book on when certain aspects of our body are not functioning or they're malfunctioning, that is attached to a spiritual need or a spiritual deficit or an alignment need or an alignment deficit. What is your thought on that, Stephanie? I want to kick that to you because you specifically are sharing your story about what's going on with the PCOS. What do you feel about Louise Hayes' theory on that? Now I'm seeing that this flare is happening for me so that I can heal the root cause. Do you feel like Louise Hayes' theory has merit when she says, okay, so let's say you have this issue with your elbow, or you have arthritis, and she's got like different parts of the body in her book, to where if there's an issue there, it's linked to certain other root manifestations or things we've called in on a subconscious level, or things we struggled with or we're misaligned with that need help. Do you feel like there's a link there? Okay, I'll wait on you to answer that question. We'll get to jennalee. I have visualized, but definitely not down to the paint. I really can get way more detailed. I really can get, yeah, like you said, yeah, girl, get more detailed. And it might sound crazy. It might feel like nutso, but anyways, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? And, but it really just kind of prime you. It really does put you in the energy of it. And so think about it like this. If we want to bring in our logical, our masculine mind, the more you put yourself into the energy and connect to that energy in the feminine, in your creative space, the more you can then hand that off to your masculine, your brain, on what steps to take to make it happen, right? Because you may be missing certain steps when you actually go to put in the physical work to bring it in. And that's, if I didn't mention that or people aren't familiar with that, already, the feminine energy connection of manifestation is the first step. If I didn't mention that, the second is to actually do the things that are connected to the feminine energy of how that thing vibrates. If that makes sense. So the feminine, let me say it again. The feminine energy is matching the energetic vibration. Boom, we got that down. The masculine energy is bringing it into tangible form and taking the steps. Right? Like, who do I need to go out and talk to? What letter do I need to write? What is the savings plan need to look like? What kind of loan do I need to apply for? What, because you have to put yourself in position to receive it, right? Okay, so let's say Yesenia, when I tried to manifest a healthy body, specifically my kidney, I imagine that scene in the movie Breaking Dawn where Bella is turning into a vampire and her body is reigniting all over again. Oh my God. It's been a while since I've seen the Twilight series movies, but I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, let's see. When her body is turning into a vet. Yeah, because it's kind of, from what I remember, isn't it kind of like painful, like that transformation? And she's kind of like, because her body is literally, was she breaking? Her body was like breaking down. But to start over, got you, girl. Now I understand. Yeah. So there was kind of like a painful kind of like process, a breaking of the old layers to get to when she becomes a vampire, which was her transformation. Stephanie, yeah, I've definitely been considering that theory. I can see that some self-sabotage and guilt triggered some actions that caused the flare. But it's also a tough concept to fully grasp when you aren't feeling well. I could only see that side of the story once I got out of the victim of my body and more into surrendering. I agree too. I think, and as you can see, like, even though we're talking about physical health as it relates to manifesting, it can still be applied throughout. The same logic, the same rules apply throughout. When we're in the place of resistance with it, it's so hard to see any other options. It's so hard to see what power we have to shift, right? Because the pain or the resistance we feel or the powerlessness that we feel is so encompassing and it's so strong. And we can continue to deepen it and fall deeper into that disempowering feeling, or start to shift in the other direction, or, manifest a shift. And then once we're in a different energy, it's crazy how we now can kind of like see it from different angles. It's kind of wild how it all works. But I feel like the more we work it, the more we like understand how this is all working, it won't trip us up the next time something does go down, like a health thing or something that feels like a setback. We won't necessarily see it as a setback. Does that make sense? Give this video a thumbs up if you guys are liking the content. Like, follow, share. I'm really wanting to grow this YouTube channel so that I can put more of this content out if people are benefiting from it. It's really exciting. Also, if you're not already following me on Instagram, I'm probably the most active on YouTube now every Friday, 12 p.m. MST, and then Instagram. And I post pretty much like every day, almost 6 days a week. So give this video a thumbs up. And you can always watch the instant replay after the live ends. All these videos are going to be up. So if there's anything you need to go back and listen to, or, questions you have, DM me on anything that, we talked about here today. Is there anything else you guys want me to elaborate on? We're kind of coming up towards the end. Man, I love sparkle water. Bubbles. And thank you guys so much again for coming today and participating. The community is small, it is growing, and the content we're talking about, I feel like, is stuff that we all relate to, and could just continue to raise our vibration on. That's what it's all about. So we can manifest in all of our heart's desires. Okay, you guys. So I'm not seeing any more questions rolling in. It looks like we're good. I've really enjoyed spending time with you guys today. I'm going to log off. I will see you guys next Friday at 12 p.m. MST live. Bring your coffee, bring your water. Love you guys. See you guys then.